Hi, I'm Chris with Afflicted Broadheads, and today we're going to do a quick video on how to skin your deer. So today we're going to talk a little bit about how to skin your deer, and we're actually going to skin a deer for you here. I guess the first thing to get started is to realize you don't really need anything special. All you really need is a good sharp knife and a way to hang your deer. And it doesn't matter if you're hanging it in the garage, over an old swing set, or from a tree, anything will work. You don't have to go out and buy a hoist and a gambrel. If you just have a rope and a nice sturdy piece of board with some notches in it, you can hang your deer anywhere and easily skin it, and we're going to show you how. So our setup here is really simple. All I did was I took a piece of pipe, I put it up in the tree, and I secured it with a couple ratchet straps. It's really easy to put up, really easy to take down when I'm done. On top of that, I have a little bit of a pulley system here. You can buy these little kits anywhere, most of them for under $20. It has a gambrel. It will have everything else that you need in it. This gambrel here works really nice for keeping the deer out of the dirt, hung, keeping the back legs spread so you can work on the animal. And what's really nice is at the top it has a self-locking system, so when you put weight in, it automatically locks it at the height you want. So again, these are really affordable. If you find one, you might want to grab it just to hang on to it. Otherwise, like I said, throw a rope over anything and get your deer off the ground and you'll be able to skin it. What's important here is when you start, you want to get it to a height that's comfortable. So wherever you feel that you can work really simple without having your hands way up high so your arms go numb, you just want to be in an area that's really easy for you. So as we get started right here, this is a nice comfortable spot for me to start skinning, and so we're going to leave it at this level. So my first cut here, I'm going to take from the back of this tendon all the way to the vent in the back. Okay, so at this point, I like to switch to one of my curved blade knives. Again, any knife is going to work here. You don't have to really worry as long as it's sharp, because you're not really going to do a lot of cutting here. You're just going to be kind of releasing the hide from the meat. You're going to be doing a lot more pulling, but a nice sharp knife that you can kind of glide in when you need it is really helpful. So what I do, I have this nice curved blade knife here, and I'm just going to bring it in along the edge and just help free that skin up. Nice and easy. Sometimes you get a big ruddy buck like this, the skin really likes to stick. The hide wants to stick to that meat and not let go. They've used up a lot of their fat. Things are pretty tight on there. But once you get things started, they should start to slide off really nice and easy. So when you get to the tail, all I have to do is find the right joint space. Once you find it, your knife will cut right through it, and the tail comes right down. And the tail will stay attached to the hide. You can take that off later. Maybe you want to use it for tying flies. And just keep pulling. You want to get in here and make sure you cut the hide away from the ribs a little bit, because as you're pulling down the back, it'll just pull that whole belly over on you. So it's a quick way to get to this point. All right, so usually when I get here, take a little break, have some coffee, and then I switch to the lower legs. And the reason I do is because if you can get the feet off the lower legs and make some pre-cuts on the lower legs, when you get down there, especially if you want to save for the cape for a mount, it's really a lot easier if you do that first, so the hide slips off really easy for you. So we'll come around the other side and I'll show you how to do that. So what I like to do at this point, you can see this deer here wasn't cut down into the lower ribs here into the brisket at all. So this is going to make a really nice mount. Of course, most all it's going to be used for a mount is this here, but you want to make sure that you're not making any crazy cuts here in case you want to do a full shoulder mount or something really interesting. It's just extra work for your taxidermist. So we're kind of mostly being nice for the taxidermist, even though we're creating a little bit more work for ourselves. The first thing I like to do is take off these lower legs. So you're going to bend them. You're going to cut that tendon off at the joint right there, and you can come around the side because that tendon comes all the way around, and then you just give it a little bit of a snap, and then you'll be able to follow the contour to get that lower leg off. And it'll come right off. Do the same thing on the other side. I like to bend it right at the bend. That's where the tendon is. Cut that. You'll feel the leg give way. Cut the side tendon. And cut the other side if you like. And just give it a little bit of a twist. You'll see it start to open up. Now you can follow it with your knife. Get in there. It should come right off nice and clean. So this is the part where it's going to save you a lot of work, because if you're going to keep this for a mount, as you're bringing this hair down, you don't have anywhere to go, and then you got to kind of turn these legs inside out, and it's a lot of work. So what I like to do at this point is I just go ahead and cut the skin right up the leg and right into here, and that'll make this job a lot easier, because then I won't have to turn these legs completely inside out with the whole hide. Now, if your front legs are going to be part of your mount, you want to get with your taxidermist to find out where he wants you to cut them. Some will want them on the inside, some will want them on the back side, depending on how your taxidermist wants to do things. Anyway, just come right into there like that. That's going to save you a lot of work as you start to come down, because these legs are now going to just peel right out. And it'll be a lot less work. And so now we can go ahead and finish taking our hide off. You can see how this buck's been rutting. He's used up all of his fat. He's got this little layer of all used up, ugly looking stuff here. Really been working hard during the rut. Sometimes that layer's it wants to be a little clingy. Let your knife follow right along the rib cage, and everything will keep coming down pretty easy. Now things here will start to get a little bit tougher as you come down. This skin really sometimes will want to be a little difficult, but it'll come. Just take your time. As much as you can, you want to pull and not cut, especially if you got things going to the taxidermist. If you get your hand up under here real nice, you got plenty of leverage to work with. Now, this part can get a little bit tricky, because now we're at the front shoulder, and this is the scapula right here. This is the whole front part of the leg coming off here. So I like to keep loosening it up all the way down so I have plenty of room to work on both sides. You can see the front shoulder on this side starting to appear. Okay, so now you can see how this leg is starting to appear here. I'm just going to continue to follow that front leg down, moving the skin away as I go. I'm going to be coming into another. This is the exit wound here. Okay, so this is the part here I was telling you we were going to make our lives a little bit easier, and we have. Because see, that lower leg is already starting to pop all the way out. We're just going to give it a few more cuts down here to help loosen it up. And sometimes it's actually beneficial when you're down at this end to not use a knife that's razor sharp. It's sharp, but not too sharp, because you can end up putting a lot of holes in your hide if you're not careful. You can see how easy that is because we already did those cuts. Go to the other side. Same thing. You can see where the shoulder here is attached to the hide. This is the entrance wound. We're just going to come right down along that shoulder. Start freeing that up. See how nice that pops out of there because you already made that cut? Can you imagine if you had to have, this would be really tight and you'd be trying to undress those front legs if you hadn't made those cuts ahead of time. And again, it's not totally necessary to do it this way, but it gives your taxidermist a lot more to work with. There's that. You can just come in here. Keep taking the hide off. And this is the time where you'll probably have a little bit more knife work because, like I said, the hide really, especially on these rut and bucks, really wants to stay tight. Now, if you're getting worried that you're going to be cutting hide, you can always get your hand up in here and feel where you're at. You can keep one hand in here while you cut. And then that way you don't have to be nervous. You just see how nice that starts to free up as you work down. Now we want to save as much meat as possible here on the neck, so we're just going to keep going down until we get almost to the base of the skull. And you'll know when you got about as far as you can because the hide will start bunching up and you really can't go any farther. So they were about all the way down. Right here's the base of the skull. So an easy thing to do at this stage of the game, if you don't have a larger knife, is to go ahead and have a little handsaw. So we'll do that next. I like to get this meat out of the way with my sharp knife before I get my saw in there. It helps keep the saw teeth clean. It just makes a little bit easier of a job. So I've made my spot. And that's it. So there you have the full hide. Full looking good. There's no cuts in anywhere. You have this nice cape for your taxidermist to work with. So that's our method for skinning a deer. Hope it was helpful for you. Give us a thumbs up and a follow. If you have any questions, drop them down below.